Hello everyone, I'm DK Wisdom and welcome to this Adobe Premiere Pro course. In this course, we're going to talk about sequence, resolution, titles, transition, color grading, and animation right inside of Premiere Pro. I'm going to try as much as possible to walk you through these steps easily as possible so that you don't actually make mistakes and you actually know you found the right video for you. So right now guys, I'm not going to waste any much of your time. We're going to dive right in. We're going to start by creating a new sequence, and there are different ways to create sequence. I can first of all go to file right here, say new, and we can create a sequence right here, or I can simply import a clip first of all, and we can use the sequence properties of that clip to create a sequence. So for now, we're going to simply create an empty sequence, and we're going to go for this one right here. Clicking on that, we're going to go for settings, and we're going to choose our own values right here. For this, first of all, you want to simply change this HDTV 1080p. You want to go and say custom. Now you can change the time base to 30 frames per second or 25 frames per second, any one of them, but I recommend you actually go for 30 frames per second to get a good natural video effect. So for this frame height, there are different kind of frame height you should know. There is 1920 by 1080, there is 1280 by 720, and actually they are called 4K, 1080p, 720p, any one of these. But for this video or for this course, we're gonna work in 1920 by 1080 pixels. Okay, so I'm gonna simply type that in right there. So we're gonna go 1920 by 1080, and for the pixel aspect ratio, we're gonna go for square pixels, and for the field, we're gonna leave it as no field, and display format, we're gonna leave it as 30 frames per second time code, and working space, leave it as the default values. For the audio, you can simply leave it at 48,000 hertz, as you can see right there. And you can say this for this time, we're going to go for quick time for preview format, and for the animation, we're going to go for non-uncompressed 8-bit if your system has power to actually carry that. But if your system doesn't have enough power or enough CPU power to carry this, you can simply go for animation. Any one of these, you're actually good to go. So once you have that, you can name your sequence right here by typing in anything you like. But for this, I'm going to leave it as sequence 01. We're going to click on OK. So once you click on OK, Adobe Premiere Pro is going to create a sequence with all those values, and you see the timeline loads up and shows up something like this, guys. And that's how easy it is, guys, to create a sequence right inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. And as you can see right here in the project panel, you have the sequence 01. If you double click on it, you still get the same thing right here. So that's it for this part. So the next part we're going to look after is how you can actually make titles in Adobe Premiere Pro. And there are a lot of ways to do this. Actually, you can use the type tool right here, or you can use what we call the essential graphics, where you have some motion graphics installed on your system and they show up right on Premiere Pro. And mind you, mine and yours aren't going to be the same thing, because I actually deleted most of the follow comp, or let's say the previous ones right there that came when I installed Premiere Pro. So I deleted those and actually installed some of mine. So that's why the titles and the sequence right here are going to look great and better than yours. But don't worry about that, guys. We're not going to be dealing with the essential graphics for now. Let's talk about the title right here. And there are two ways to create a title right inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. It's either you use the type tool right here, or you can actually create a title file by clicking on file, say new, and clicking on legacy title. So once you click on legacy title, you can name the title right here with the width and the height of the sequence, and clicking on OK. It's going to open up another panel just like this, where you can actually start creating, customizing, and adding things to your title. For this, first of all, we're simply going to increase this left panel right here to show all the controls inside the title panel. We're going to increase that a little bit this way, and decrease this one right here so it shows all the things this way. So right now we're going to simply click on this tool right here, the type tool. I'm going to bring it to the middle of the screen, and here we're going to type in something, anything you like. For this, I'm going to use title. So once you type in title, it chooses the default font for your video or for your system and places it there. But the thing you can actually do is that you can actually click on this button right here to actually align this somewhere in the middle. Also, you can increase the width and the height of the title by increasing these sliders right here. And the height also, you can increase that by increasing the sliders right here. Also, you can change the font by clicking on the font family right here and selecting one of your custom fonts or one of the fonts you installed. So I'm simply going to go a little bit downward and choose one of the fonts I like using in most of my videos. You might have seen them in some of my thumbnails. It's called Hey Comic, so I'm going to look for Hey Comic right on the H side, and yeah, these guys, so I'm going to use that. And as you can see, this is the title we have here right now, so you can simply drag on this angles also to actually increase and reduce them. So once we have something like this, we're simply going to select the color right here. So you can go for a black color by choosing the black, and it's going to change that to black, as you can see. And you can go for also the red color, it's going to change that to red. So any one of those you can change it by actually using the field properties right here. And also, let's go for the strokes. So now, if you want to add strokes to your text, strokes are a little bit of lines around your text, you can simply go for either the inner strokes that will stay in the middle of all these things, or you can go for the outer strokes that will stay outside the title. So I'm going to go for the outer strokes, and we're going to click on add. And once you add the outer strokes, you can change the color. Mine, I'm going to use something like white. I'm going to click on OK, and as you can see, this has a white stroke around it right now. And that's how easy it is, guys, to add stroke to your text. And you can actually change the fill type from solid to 4 gradient color, and now you can choose different colors for each of them. So if I go for blue on the second part, clicking on OK, and I'm going to go for red on this part, so click on that and say red. And I'm going to go for something like yellow on this part, click on the color picker right here and choose yellow. Get a 4 gradient color right on the text or on the stroke of the text. As you can see, there are some blues right here. You can actually zoom in and see that right there. There are some blues. Or let me increase the size of this so you actually see everything the way it goes. So as you can see, guys, there are some white around this part, a red around this part, blues here, and there are yellow here. And that's how easy it is to create the 4 gradient kind of stroke. But if you don't want to use that, you can go for the solid, linear, radial, or eliminate, or even ghost. Once you click on the ghost, you actually don't see anything, because what do you say, it's a ghost. You can't see anything except you place an empty background right on that, and you're gonna see the strokes it created. So I'm gonna go back to the solid. I'm gonna use a white color for the strokes. So there you have it. So now you can increase the opacity of the strokes by dragging the slider up and down, and also you can increase the size of the strokes, as you can see right here. You can go for something like this to make it a little bit cloudy, but you can go as tiny as possible, like around 3, and you get some tiny stuff this way. So anyone you want to do, it's totally up to you at this point. And the last thing I should show you guys is actually the shadow. You can actually create shadow for your text if you want to place this on the background, like a white background or maybe a pale background. You can create a shadow, and you can choose the color of the shadow. Let's go for white so that you actually see what we're doing. So that's the shadow around that. Or let's go for green, since the stroke is white. So let's go for green, and you get that green shadow. If you can look very closely, you get a green shadow. If I increase the opacity, you're going to see it a lot more on the title right there. And also you can change the distance of this by dragging the distance part right here. You can change the distance of the strokes, or sorry, of the shadows, and you can draw that, and you have something like that. Now you can reduce the opacity, you get something like this. Also, you can actually increase the size if you want, and reduce the size. The spread also, you can increase the spread, how far it goes, as you can see right there, and also the angle at which the stroke is, so you can bend it anywhere. You can go up or downward, right or left, totally depends on you. So I'm going to simply deselect the shadow, as you can see. And now you have the background. If you want a background also, choosing on solid color background, you can change the color from red to, let's say, something around a dark blue, just like this, and clicking on OK, and you're going to see a dark blue background right there. The opacity, you can change the opacity of the background and increase the opacity of the background. So this is how you can actually create a text title right inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. So the next thing we're going to simply do is that we're going to import this into our sequence. So to do this, you can simply close this right here, and we're going to drag that and import that into our sequence. So there you have it. You have title right there. And also you can simply click on this and go to what we call the effect controls, and now you can see some animation button for the motion, opacity, and time remapping. And there are different kind of things you can actually do here. Like now you can change the position of each of these by dragging the position this way or that way. This is for the X value of the position. Now for the Y value or the vertical value, you can drag this one this way or this way, any way you like it. So you can increase the scale of the text by dragging the scale bigger or smaller, and also you can increase the rotation by rotating it this way, or you can go back. And to reset each of these properties back to its normal default, you can simply click on this return button right here, click on all of them you actually turned, and it's going to reset them back to the normal way it was. And here is the anchor point. What the anchor point means is the middle of this animation or of this title clip right here. So if you click on the anchor point, you're going to see some things like this, some dots around it. There are actually about 8 or 9 dots plus the one in the middle. So we're going to simply drag this thing right here in the middle, and that's what you call the anchor point. Now take a look at this. If I drop the anchor point at the middle of the title and I use the rotation property, the rotation starts from the middle of the clip. But now if I drag this anchor point and place it at somewhere this way and I rotate this, it's going to rotate from that axis. Actually where your turning point is for your clip, and you can actually reset that by clicking on this and clicking on this, and it's going to bring everything to its normal parameters just like this. And also right here you can change the opacity of the title by decreasing or increasing it. Same thing you can do right in the title panel. So that's it for title, guys, and using the file or legacy title file. So the next thing we're simply going to do is that we're going to delete this right here. So click on delete. Now we're going to simply use the type tool right here, and let's see the difference we can make. So using the type tool, I'm going to simply type in title for the same thing right here. So we're going to use TI. So you have title there, and this time once you type this creates a motion graphic file just like this. As you can see right here, the graphic file, and you can simply see the title we just created right inside here. Clicking on this I button toggles off and on the title, and you can click on this down arrow right here to see more things about the title. Here you can actually increase the text size of the title. You can change the font type to bold, and it's going to make everything bold. But first of all, you need to highlight everything inside the title before pressing this. So if I drag this from 100 to something around 400, you see how the title increases right here on the panel. Changing this from regular to bold will make the title a little bit bold, as you can see. And right here you can still change the font if you like. Clicking on that, you can select any font you want, and I'm going to go for one of my other fonts that I normally use when I'm making videos. So I'm going to go for Quicksand, and as you can see you get something like this with the dash lines. So we can simply go for that and choose bold, so you get something like this, easy as possible. So you can reduce, increase, you can position the text somewhere in the middle right here, you can align it to stay at the center right here, and also you can use these buttons right here to create spacing between the letters. As you can see, if I increase this, there's a lot of space in between the letters, and if I reduce that, you get tiny space in between the letters. Also for this, you can actually increase this to move the text a little bit upward or move it downward also, and for this you can use it also. Now for these ones right here, you can use this one to make it bold if you like. As you can see, it's gonna be extra bold. You can use this one to make it italic. It's gonna bend the text a little bit. You can use this for higher case or uppercase letters, and also you can use this for uppercase and lowercase letters. Also you can use this for if you have a square file, and also this too. But for now we're simply gonna go with the build right here. So now down here you can see other things called the appearance. And under appearance you can choose the fill. The fill, you can change the color of each of them. Clicking on the red or blue, you can actually change the color. And remember when we were dealing with the legacy title, we used some strokes. So right here if you click on the strokes, it's going to make some white strokes around this. So as you can see, you can simply increase the edge a little bit to see the strokes. As you can see right there, we have the strokes right here. Also here for the background, we can simply use that, and we can increase the background to something like this and changing the color from that to, let's say, blue or green. Let's go for green. Clicking on OK, you're gonna see it creates a green background right here. Also, you can increase the background border by dragging this upward a little bit, as you can see right there, and there you have it. You can actually create the same kind of title you should create right inside the legacy panel, and this time you should remember that creating a title using the type to create a graphic layer, or once you create a title using the legacy title, it creates a file just like this, as you can see. So there are two different things, but you can actually use both of them. Right now, under the same title, you can set the transform, and the transform is where you can actually make certain animations to the scale, position, rotation, opacity, and anchor point of that, just like as you can do to this file. So right now, if I drag the position value this way, you're going to say that it moves according to the direction you draw or move the position value to. Also, for the scale, you can increase that by drawing it a little bit closer or backward, just like this. And for the rotation, it's simply the same thing. And clicking on this part, you're gonna see the lines shows up, as you can see right there. And for the opacity also, it's the same thing. You can reduce that or increase that, easy as possible. And for the anchor point, you still get the same thing we did at the first place, but this time you get two anchor points. The anchor point to the left and anchor point to the right. Okay, so now once you have actually arranged this, you can simply use this to move them around, or clicking on the transform button right here will display everything. Okay guys, so there you have it with the title. So the next step we're moving to is how you can color grade your clips and how you can add transitions to your clips. So now I'm color grading a clip inside of Premiere Pro. Let's say you have two clips on the timeline and you want to add color grades too. There are actually dozens of ways you can do this, and actually easy as possible. But first of all, I'm going to show you 3 ways on how you can actually color grade the clip. Now, so let's say we have these two clips, separate clips right here. We have this one of a woman on the green screen right here, and we have this one of the city in Toronto or something like that way. So here we have them, and we simply want to add some color grades to this. There are 3 ways you can do this. First of all, you can do this by adding an adjustment layer. Clicking on that and saying OK, dragging this adjustment layer on the clip you want to color grade and increasing the duration of the adjustment layer. Now you can click on the adjustment layer right here, go to the lumetri color, and you're gonna see some basic color grading properties that you should know. And for this, you can increase the temperature right here by increasing the temperature, and you see the clip gets a little bit warmer than the normal blue it normally used to be. You can increase the exposure or reduce the exposure a bit. You don't want to go too far than 0.5 or minus 0.5, because if you go too far, you're gonna get some weird coloring right on the clip. Just as you can see, it's still actually loading. So as you can see right here, the exposure is actually bad. That's why I say you don't want to go more than 0.5 or minus 0.5 to get a normal amount of exposure. Now for the contrast simply means the dark areas of this clip, the place that needs more darkness, or let's say that needs more contrast, or that way. So as you can see right here, we have some buildings that are black, and if they look this way, they don't look actually good, so they need more black added to them to make them look good. That's what the contrast is there for. So you can simply increase the contrast a little bit, and it's going to make some areas dark in this clip. You don't want to increase it too much, because anyone you go further too much, it's going to actually offset and distort the entire clip. So you don't want to go too further than that. So you have that on the clip, and the highlight is simply the places on your clips with the highest amount of light or the highest amount of luminosity. And luminosity simply means the light or the lightest part on this clip. So increasing the shadow or the highlight, we actually increase the places with light on the clip. And as you can see, this clip is already a little bit bright, so increasing the highlight of this clip won't do any good to the clip. It actually do a lot of harm to this clip. So you simply want to bring that down a little bit, up to something like -12, as you can see. And right here for the shadows also, shadows simply means the darkest part of this clip, places like this and this. And for the shadows also, you want to make them darker or either lighter, any one of your choice. It depends on the kind of footage you have there. And okay, that's it, guys. So now we have the shadow right there, and it's gonna simply change that up. As you can see right, this now you might not see the difference of what you're doing, but in order to see the difference of what you just did, you can simply go to the effect controls, and you're going to see a new effect added to this adjustment layer, which is called the lumetri color. Clicking on this effect button, you can see the changes you've made to this clip, like this. You can see, guys, those are some of the effects or changes you made to this clip using the color grade effect or the lumetri color effect. And right here, I simply, when I'm editing videos, I don't want to touch the black and white, because if you can actually tweak the shadows and the highlight a little bit, you're actually good to go. And those are some basic color grading effects you should know. And you can actually use the saturation also to increase the saturation of the clip, how red it is or how black and white it is. So the saturation simply means the color or amount of color you get in your clip. Okay, reducing this to something around minus 100 or 0, you're gonna get a black and white clip like this. And bringing this too much to the top, around 200, as you can see, actually adds more red or more colors into this clip. So you want to simply make a balance between 100 and 200. So I'm going to go for something like 110 or 109, and you get some good video effects right there. And also, don't get me wrong, there are some other color grading effects you can use right inside of the lumetri color to color grade your clip. There are some things like the creatives that you can use, and there are the curves which you can use, and there's the color wheel, there's the HSL secondary color, and there's the vignette. But all these coloring options, I'm going to talk about them right in another video. So I don't want this video to be too long for you guys where you don't actually get the value. So I'm going to make a color grading video or a color grading course just like this, and I'm going to upload that to you guys very soon. So comment below if you want a color grading course right inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. So there we have it right there, using the adjustment layer to create some colors. And also, you can actually directly apply this lumetri color effect to a single clip. So I'm simply going to drag this and place this on the clip this way, or you can simply copy and paste them. So going to the adjustment layer, simply click on that. Using Ctrl X, you can cut that, and on the production clip, you can actually use it paste them right there. If you're on Windows, you can use Ctrl V, and now you don't need the adjustment layer anymore. So you can use that any way you like. It's either you apply them on an adjustment layer or you apply them directly to the clip. And there's also another way you can do this by applying the effect directly on the mains panel. So imagine you had made some cuts already before applying the color grade. This is going to apply to some of the clips and not all, but there's a way you can use or you can do to actually apply the color grading effect to all the clips at once. Even though you've made like 10,000 cuts on your timeline, it doesn't matter, it's going to apply the effects to each and every section of this clip actually. And to do this, you simply want to click on that clip and you go to the master effect control. So once you head to the master, you get something like this. As you can see, there's nothing here right now, but you can add them by simply going to effects, and here you're going to look for the lumetri color effect. So look for lumetri, and you're going to see it under color correction. This one, you can drag this and place it on the master. So once you place it on the master, no matter how many times you cut this clip, it's still going to be the same thing. Okay, it's still going to be the same thing. There's not going to be any change to this clip right here. So that's how easily you can add the color or add color grading to your videos right inside of Premiere Pro. So the next one we're going to talk about is actually transitions, and I'm going to show you different kind of ways you can create transitions or use the transitions inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. So guys, we're still going to use the same clips right on Premiere Pro, the same clips we used for the color grading, and we're going to simply apply some transitions to this clip. So right here on the effects panel, you can simply delete the lumetri color we typed in before, and here under the folders you can see what we call the video transition. Opening the video transition, you're going to see some 3D motion, dissolve, immersive video, iris, page fill, slide, wipe, and zoom transition right in that Premiere Pro. Premiere Pro gives you a lot of options to choose from, but these transitions are not actually great for your videos, except you just want to make some cultural friendly videos. If you're making professional videos, then you need to create your own transitions right inside of Premiere Pro. But I'm going to walk you through how you can use each one of these step by step. So right here, as you can see, we have the 3D motion transition. Simply going to open that transition up, and you have the cube spin. Dragging this and placing this between two clips actually create a transition, and you can say okay, instead it's an insufficient media, which means that the keyframes on this cube spin are not matching the ones on the transition on the two other clips right here. But as you can see, the transition was applied, and you can increase the duration or decrease the duration to the value you want anyway. So right now, as you can see, we're going to simply play that, and you're going to get that cube spin transition, and this is actually easy if you know what you're doing. So clicking on that, you can actually use here the sliders right here to actually direct the transitions to where you want, and you can play that right here. As you can see, that's one of the transitions you can use right inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. So we're going to simply delete that, and we're going to apply the flip over transition, dragging that and placing that between the two clips. Clicking on OK for this, you're simply going to get the same thing. You want to play this right now, you're going to get the flip over transition. As you can see, transition is quite easy to make, and it's actually good for your videos. So if you're using this flip over transition, I suggest you use it where you're making real estate videos and so on. So I'm going to simply click on that transition again and simply click on delete, and now we're simply going to go for the dissolve transition right here. So we're going to simply drag one of these and add this right here. I'm going to get the same thing, click on OK. Simply want to play this right now. You're going to get the addictive dissolve transition. As you can see, the transition isn't that great actually, but it actually does the job if you're actually editing non-professional videos, or maybe you're just making videos for your friends or just trying to learn editing. You can actually use the transitions here. But if you're going for something professional, I suggest you download transitions from stock footage websites like Envato Elements, and also some YouTubers like Peter McKinnon. They do sell good transition packs and lots for you guys to use. And also, if you want to download mine, there's a link in the description below where you can actually get access to my pack. You can download titles, you can download transitions, and many more. Just click the link below to get started. So right here we have the cross dissolve transition. Clicking on the play button right here, we're simply going to get a simple dissolve right inside of this, as you can see right here. So we're going to play this from the beginning, and you get the same thing, but this time you get a cross dissolve, and the dissolve actually isn't that great, but these are the transitions given to you by Premiere Pro, and you can use them anywhere you like. So I'm going to drag in this film dissolve right here and place that there. Clicking on OK, we can simply render the transitions right here in order to make them smoother. So we're going to click on I and O to select our in and out points. I'm going to click on the render key, and it's going to start rendering the files or the transition in between this file. As you can see right here, we have 31 frames for it to render, and depending on your PC, it might take time. As you can see right here, it says 55 seconds left. Some PC might tell you it takes 5 minutes left. It depends on what you do and how long the clip is, but as you can see, 31 frames isn't that hard to cover. So we're simply going to wait for this until it renders that, and we're going to play the transition and see how good the transition looks. As you can see, it's finished rendering that, and you get that smooth film transition right there as easy as possible. Now you can right click on this in and out point and say clear in and out, and you can play this right now, and you get that smooth film dissolve right there. So you can delete this and so on. You can actually test a lot of these, but for this video not to be too long, I'm simply going to stop right here. There are some other ones you can use, like the page peel, like the zoom. This is left to you guys to try this out, and these are some basic transitions also. In one of my next video, I'm going to talk about how you can create your own custom transitions, like the zoom transition, the page turn transition, and many other kind of different transitions. You should know the seamless transitions and also the cinematic transitions right inside of Adobe Premiere Pro. But for now, you're actually good to go with this. So the next thing we're simply going to talk about right inside of Adobe Premiere Pro is the animation. Like in the before examples I showed you about the titles and the color grade, there you saw some animation right inside the effect controls right here, using the position, scale, rotation, anchor point, and anti-flicker. But this time we're simply going to work on each of these. So right here guys, we have the motion animation right here, and you can actually create keyframes for each of this motion. As you can see right here, the clip stays in the middle, but if you want this clip to start from somewhere at the edge and enter into the middle, you can actually do this by clicking on the position right here. You can see the point shows up. You can drag the X value and place this outside of the clip. You want to simply drag that until it goes outside the clip, and you're going to create a keyframe for this. And to create a keyframe, you're going to click on this stopwatch button and create a toggle animation for that. Move towards somewhere in the middle of the clip, and you want to reset the parameters, and you get something like this. Now once you play this, the clip starts from outside and comes inside the clip. And one of the things I want you to know is that the further your keyframes are from each other, the slower your animation is going to be. So right here, if this keyframe was a little bit further from this one at the front, the animation is going to go a little bit slower than normal. So me playing this clip is going to take time for the clip to come out from this part and go to somewhere in the middle. So the further your keyframes are from each other, the same thing you're going to get. So bringing this and dragging this closer to this one, that's the same thing you're simply going to get, but this time it's going to happen a lot faster than normal. So let me show you guys how it works. So here we have this, and dragging this from this part to the middle right here, you see that it's going to move a little bit faster, but actually the PC is going through some workload, so it's trying to render some of this clip out so you can play it back smoothly. And this also happens when your graphic card is about to fail, but for this video guys, we're simply going to manage that until we get the final product. So as you can see, the closer these keyframes are to each other, the faster your animation, and also the farther they are from each other, the slower your animation. So put that in mind anytime you are actually trying to make some animations in Premiere Pro. And also for the scale is actually the size of the clip, and also you can make an animation for this. So for here, we're simply going to increase this to something around 161, and we're going to create an animation right there. Clicking on this toggle keyframe button, we're going to go to the beginning of the clip, and this time we're going to set the parameters to 100. So playing this, you get some kind of quirky scale up animation and moving animation just like this, as you can see. And that's how easy it is to create an animation in Premiere Pro guys. So before I end this video right here, I'm simply going to talk about some other few things under the animation properties that things like this. So if you're clicking on this button right here, you're going to get used to some other properties right here, which is called the velocity per second, and this is the speed of this animation at different intervals. So at the middle here guys, you can see that the velocity here is around 394 meters, or let's say centimeters for your videos, or pixels, depends, per second. And as you can see, it's actually the same thing throughout the entire animation. As you can see, it starts at 394 and stays the same thing towards the end. But there's actually a way you can change this, and one of the ways you can do this is by right clicking on the ending animation and saying time roll interpolation and say ease in. Ease in means you want the animation to come in smoothly. And for the beginning also, you can do this by right clicking on this clip right here, or sorry, on the animation at the beginning, saying time roll interpolation and say ease out. Ease out means you want the animation to go out. Now playing on looking at this animation, you see that the animation moves towards the entire frame. And what we've just done is that we said, Premiere Pro, I want you to play the animation slowly at the beginning, move faster toward the end, toward the middle, and also when you're coming down or when you're ending the animation, I want you to go a little bit slower. That's the same thing you're just telling Premiere Pro to do for you. So playing this clip, you get the exact same kind of motion. It starts slowly, moves faster toward the middle, and stops slowly. As easy as possible guys. As you can see right there, that's one of the things I want you guys to know about Premiere Pro. So thank you for watching this video. It really means a lot to me, and I hope you've learned some few things about titles in Premiere Pro, about transitions, about color grading, about sequence, and how you can actually do some basic animation right in Premiere Pro. I'm going to make the second part of this course where I'm going to talk about some advanced methods and some more advanced things you should know when editing in Premiere Pro. But this is actually good if you're a beginner or you just want to start out with Premiere Pro. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Give this video a like if it's helped you. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button if you want to stay notified anytime I drop a new video. Until next time, see you soon.